This camera was manufactured in Japan from 1983 to 1987. Has a different vertical traveling shutter than the FE and the FM, but I believe it is similar to the FM2. Now, a couple of differences between this and the standard FE1. There's no battery check light on the back here, as there is on the FE. I've got an FE, oh Jesus. I have an FE top right here, and you can see there's a little battery check light, and you move that to indicate whether or not there's a charge with the battery, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, if you notice here on the shutter speed dial, the manual speed, instead of 1/90th of a second, it is now 2/50th of a second, as is the flash sync speed has been upped to 250th of a second, and there's also a 1/4000th of a second, which I think is the fastest mechanical shutter speed. And then opening up the back is unnecessarily complicated. There's a small lever here. You can't really even see it that well. There's a small lever here. You push that in, and then you can lift up on the lever there, and the back will open. You push that down, and that will lock into place. So you can see here, the shutter is slightly different than the FE shutter looks, so they're not interchangeable. Close that up. You have a memo slide on the back of the door here. On the bottom, you have your contacts for an auto winder. You have the bottom portion of your advance, and then also the battery compartment. The battery compartment takes two LR44 1.5 volt button cell batteries, and we'll open it up real quick. I'll show you what the compartment looks like. Maybe. Now it's convenient because it has this like nice casing around it, so the batteries should sit in there relatively fine. And there's also markings on there that will designate how the batteries need to sit. So positive side up, negative side towards the compartment lid there. That screws back in there. Also on the bottom, you have your rewind button. So you just push down on that, and you can rewind the film, as with most cameras. On the front, you have a depth of field preview lever there, so you can move that. You also have a self timer and a lens release there. The other thing too about these, which I love, you have another little aperture viewing window there. And then also on the advance lever, you have a multi-exposure lever. So this is going to basically prevent this from moving. So you'll just be shooting on the same frame. So that's convenient there. On this side, to set the ASA, you have to lift up on this outer ring here, and then rotate it around like so. And then if you want to do exposure compensation, you have to push down on this silver button there, and then move it to whatever way. I always just like to leave it on a 0, but that's a personal preference. Other features that this has, there is a small light up there. So I believe if you have like a Nikon flash, like some corresponding flashes, as they charge, this light will illuminate, so that way you don't have to like listen to the capacitors winding up. You can just see, okay, my flash is ready to go. I don't know if that works with all flashes, but I know that there are certain Nikon flashes that will communicate with the camera. So that's a pretty cool feature. This is oh, and then the other thing too, when you have the shutter speed dial, mine is about 1 off right now, so it looks as though it's on 1/4000th, but it's actually on auto. So when you have it on auto, it's going to lock into place, so you have to push on this center button there to then move it over. Advance, there's your shutter button there, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. As far as the light meter goes, there is a green bar which will kind of move to whatever speed that you're shooting at, and then there's a little black needle, and that will bounce around to show you kind of where you should be firing at. So I feel like that's a very effective means of communicating just enough information to get you to get that proper exposure. So the other thing, flash sync port on the front here, which is kind of an interesting position. I always thought that the Nikon position for these was kind of odd. When you put a lens on, it's going to be the opposite of all the other lenses you'll try to put on a camera. So instead of going clockwise, you go counterclockwise. So that's something. When you're doing the self-timer, I always like to advance it, then move the lever down, and then when you fire, the mirror is going to go up. As it's running, then it'll fire, you're good to go. But that's just something to be wary of. On the FE and the FE2, none of the shutter speeds will work unless you have batteries in there, unless there's power. The only two that will work are going to be bulb and M250. So if you fire it and the mirror goes up and the curtain stays closed, that's probably because you don't have sufficient power. It is common that the battery compartment can become detached. There's just one wire that runs there, and it's not uncommon for that wire to be corroded. So bear that in mind. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Nikon FE2, very simple kind of camera. If they work, it's fantastic. If they don't work, it is the biggest pain to try and repair one of these. But fortunately, this one works. I hope that the one that you have also works, and I hope you're able to use it. If you have any questions, comment them down below. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. Catch you on the next one.